In this episode, we discussed DeMar DeRozen of the Sacramento Kings, Warriors offseason moves, and how the Niners can use some of their open cap space to improve the offensive line this year. Plus, a WNBA edition for Empowering with Positivity. Episode 36 of N1 from the End Zone starts now. You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it. First and foremost, I would like to take a moment to thank all of my followers. As we continue to grow, we have now surpassed over 1,400 subs. I appreciate all the love and support and genuinely hope you are enjoying this content. Please don't forget to leave a comment on the video, as I want to know your thoughts, your opinions for things that I should discuss here in the End Zone. Plus, I also want to know if you agree or disagree with my takes. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. DeMar DeRozen is heading to the Sacramento Kings on a 3-year, $74 million sign-and-trade deal. He joins De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis on a young Kings roster who are hoping to make the playoffs after falling short this past season and losing to the Pelicans in the play-in tournament. The 15-year veteran is coming off a season where he averaged 24 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and a little over a steal a game in 79 games played last year. DeRozan is not showing any signs of slowing down as he enters year 16 and turns 35 before the start of the season. He finished second this past season for the Clutch Player of the Year award, the same award De'Aaron Fox won in 2023. And I believe the addition of DeMar DeRozan to the Kings makes them a very interesting team as they vie for a top 6 seed in the West. Does it make them title contenders? I honestly don't know yet. I'll have to wait and see how the trio plus the young Keegan Murray mesh on the court. One thing's for sure, DeRozan is an upgrade from Harrison Barnes on both sides of the ball and should make the Kings' offense drastically better. The deal for DeMar DeRozan also saw Harrison Barnes in an unprotected 2031 pick swap head to the San Antonio Spurs and guard Chris Duarte plus 2 second-round picks and cash go to the Chicago Bulls. Harrison Barnes to the San Antonio Spurs, in my opinion, is a great fit. Barnes is a former champion who still averages around 12 points and 3 rebounds a game. Plus, he's a career 38% shooter from 3 and 46% from the field. I see him fitting very well in Greg Popovich's system and think he's going to be a great addition to the Spurs' young locker room. San Antonio made a move to sign CP3 this offseason, and with the addition of Barnes to go alongside Wembanyama, I think the Spurs can compete for a play-in spot and even shock the world and make the playoffs. They are still a ways away from being real title contenders, but it's a good step in Wemby's development, to be completely honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Chris Duarte to Chicago is a good acquisition for the rebuilding Bulls. Duarte last year struggled to get playing time in Sacramento after being traded from the Pacers the last offseason, having the worst year of his career. In Chicago, however, he could still develop into a nice rotation piece for the Bulls at the wing position. I also don't see the Bulls having a winning record or even competing for the play-in this year. But I do like how the rebuild for the Bulls is starting as they continue to look to trade Zach LaVine, but have also acquired Josh Giddey, who I believe is going to develop into being a star in the NBA, to be completely honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspin's Barbershop located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to the Warriors off-season moves. So the Warriors off-season started with a sad goodbye to one of the greatest Warriors to ever don the blue and gold. Klay Thompson signed a 3-year, $50 million deal to take his talents to the Dallas Mavericks in a sign-and-trade deal, which was the first ever 6-team trade. Warriors would then go on to sign DeAnthony Melton to a 1-year, $12.8 million deal, then acquired Kyle Anderson in a sign-and-trade deal, signing Anderson to a 3-year, $27 million contract and sending cash plus a future second-round pick swap to the Timberwolves. They would also go on to acquire Buddy Hield in another sign-and-trade deal with the 76ers that guarantees him 2 years for $21 million in exchange for his second-round pick they acquired from the Dallas Mavericks in the Klay Thompson sign-and-trade. Now, my friends, let's break down these new acquisitions. Let's start off with DeAnthony Melton, who is a 6-year veteran averaging 9 points, 3.5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal and a half a game through his NBA career. The last 3 seasons, one could argue, have been the best of the 26-year-old's career. Aside from the back injury that saw Melton only play 38 games last year, over the last 3 years, he's averaged 7.5 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal and a half a game on 41% from the field and 38% from 3. Melton is currently in the prime of his career and is honestly a great addition to the Warriors roster, especially after moving off of Klay. He is a former 6th Man of the Year candidate, and last year with the Sixers prior to getting injured was averaging a career high 11 points per game. D-Melt throughout his NBA career has gotten better each year on both sides of the ball, and next season I believe he'll be a big part of the Warriors rotation. Moving on to Kyle Anderson. Kyle is a 10-year veteran averaging 7 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal through his NBA career. He has a 48% field goal average, but lacks a three-point game. And although threes aren't his thing, he does make up for it with his defensive game and resilience, playing in 79 games last year with the T-Wolves. Kyle has a high basketball IQ similar to Draymond's, and his 6'9" stature will go a long way in fixing one of the Warriors' biggest defensive weaknesses last year. This upcoming season, Anderson will be turning 31, and last year one could say was a down year for him with the T-Wolves. Is it because he's aging, or was it simply because when you have the reigning defensive player of the year, Cat and Ant-Man all playing at a high fucking level, you're asked to do less? In the Warriors system, he can play as a jumbo wing or a small ball center that is comfortable initiating the offense like Draymond Green. I believe Kyle Anderson will be a great addition on the floor and in the locker room, and look forward to seeing him in the blue and gold this upcoming season. Last but not least, let's talk about Buddy. Hield is an 8-year veteran averaging 15.5 points, 4 rebounds, and 2.5 assists through his NBA career. He's a 40% career three-point shooter and one of the most resilient players in the league, playing in 84 games last season at the age of 31 between the Pacers and the Sixers. In the last 5 seasons, Buddy has made more three-pointers than Steph Curry himself, and over the last 2 seasons, he's third behind the legendary Splash Brothers duo. Since turning 30, Buddy's averaged 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal a game on 40% from 3 and 45% from the field. Last year, however, was a down year for Buddy as the aging veteran posted similar numbers to that of his rookie year. Could it be because he's an aging player who was in a contract year similar to Klay's situation last year on the Warriors? Well, he got a 4-year deal from the Warriors with $21 million guaranteed over the next 2 seasons and a player option in the 4th year that's not guaranteed. The Warriors are hoping that Buddy can replace some of the three-point production they had from Klay, who was still 4th in the league last year in three-pointers made. One thing is for sure, his style of play fits in very well with what Steve Kerr and the Warriors like to do on offense. If Buddy can have a year similar to the one he had in his 2nd year in the league, where he averaged 13.5 points, 43% from 3 and 45% from the field, the Warriors should be okay. One thing to note about Buddy, he may not be known for his defense, but his effort is noteworthy and even finished 18th in the league in 2023 with 92 steals. It'll be interesting to see him and Steph on the court together and hopefully in the playoffs. Now, with all that being said, if there had been a way to acquire Kyle Anderson while Klay remained on the roster, with the addition of D. Melton, I believe the Warriors would have been a better version than this current version of the team and closer to competing for a title than with Buddy Hield. With all due respect to Buddy, Klay last year was still better at the age of 34 and suffered a down year because his role on the team was changing and the contract situation was weighing heavily on his mind. Do I think the Warriors are good enough to make the playoffs? I do, but I don't believe they are good enough to compete for a title without Klay on the roster at this moment. If rumors are true and the Warriors want to give Steph and Draymond a real opportunity to compete for a title, they need to acquire Lauri Markkanen. His size plus three-point range and ability to stretch out the floor would be the perfect fit for the Warriors. I still think the deal for Zach LaVine, where the Warriors gave up CP3 and Wiggins and possibly retained Klay, would have been better than these moves that they've made. One thing to note about Klay is his unselfishness to step aside and let someone else be the second option. He did it when KD came to the Warriors, and honestly, if it was to make the team better next year, I could have seen him doing the same thing for Kuminga or LaVine if they had acquired him. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? I'm not going to act like the moves Mike Dunleavy has made this offseason are bad, because they do make the team competitive to make the playoffs next year. They just need one more big move to make them legitimate title contenders and give Steph and Draymond a real opportunity to win. Especially if Klay goes on to win a title with the Mavs over the next 3 years, that's going to be like rubbing salt in an open wound. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Pro Football Focus came out with their NFL rankings, and based on those rankings, I'm going to talk about some free agents that I think the 49ers should consider. As of right now, the team has about $32 million of cap space open. And if a deal with Brandon Ayuk can get done, that could open up some more cap space for this upcoming season. PFF ranked the 49ers roster number 1 for this upcoming season, but noted that the offensive line still ranked 24th this year. By the end of the year last year, they ranked the Niners O-line 20th in the league, meaning somehow entering this season, they got worse. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I have to agree with PFF. I do believe Dominic Puni will be a great addition to the Niners offensive line and could replace McKivitz at right tackle if he were to struggle or sustain an injury this upcoming season. Puni could also be used as a guard, and if Trent Williams needs to take some time off, I wouldn't be surprised if they try him out at left tackle. With all that being said, I do believe they could add another veteran offensive lineman for this upcoming season. Connor Williams, DJ Humphries, and David Bakhtiari are a few names I think the Niners should consider, and here's why. Connor Williams is heading into year 7 and was drafted in the second round in 2018 by the Dallas Cowboys. In his first 4 years with the Cowboys, he played left guard and allowed 11 sacks. After moving to the Dolphins in 2022, he moved to center the last couple of seasons and he's only allowed 4 sacks. Last year, however, Williams did suffer a torn ACL and was only able to play 9 games for the Dolphins. Why do I think Connor Williams would be a good fit for the 49ers offensive line? Well, he's only 27 years old. You could sign him to a 1-year deal for about $8 million. And since he'd still be relatively young next year, with the Niners going all in this year and trying to win a championship, Williams could elevate his status in the league with the 49ers, helping them win a Super Bowl and potentially getting a long-term deal done next year if he manages to stay healthy. Plus, since he's played with the Dolphins the last couple of years, and Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins head coach, was the former offensive coordinator for the 49ers, he'd be familiar with the offensive system that the 49ers like to run. Moving on to DJ Humphries, who is entering his 10th year in the league and was drafted in the first round by the Arizona Cardinals in 2015. He didn't play his rookie season because he struggled during training camp and in the preseason, earning the nickname Knee Deep by his head coach at the time, Bruce Arians, who explained that you need to keep a knee in his ass every day to keep him motivated. The following year, however, he was named the starting right tackle for the Arizona Cardinals and was later moved to left tackle that same year due to an injury to Jared Veldheer and struggling John Wetzel. Since the rocky start to his NFL career, Humphries has been a core part of the Arizona Cardinals offensive line for the last 8 seasons. The last couple of seasons, Humphries has dealt with injuries, only playing 23 out of a possible 34 games. In 2022, he suffered a back injury that kept him out half the season, and last year against the Eagles on New Year's Eve, he tore his ACL. So why do I think Humphries would be a good fit for the 49ers? Well, although he may not be ready for the start of the season this year, in 922 snaps he played last year, he only allowed 4 sacks. If we combine that with the 575 snaps he played in 2022, he still would only have allowed 4 sacks in the last 2 years, while Colton McKivitz allowed 9 last year in his first full year starting for the 49ers. Humphries' experience and leadership skills would also benefit the 49ers locker room when you take into account rookie offensive lineman Dominic Puni and Jared Kingston. Plus, could help with the development of Aaron Banks and Colton McKivitz. Last but not least, God forbid anything happen to Trent Williams, who is also an aging star and has had his battles with injuries over the last couple of seasons, Humphries could fill in for Trent if anything were to happen. Niners can make an attractive offer to Humphries for 1 year between $8 to $12 million, giving Humphries the opportunity to chase the Super Bowl ring with the Niners while also getting back at his former employer, the Arizona Cardinals, who cut him at the end of this past season. Last but not least, David Bakhtiari is an 11-year NFL veteran hoping to be back for his 12th NFL season. He was drafted by the Green Bay Packers in the 4th round of the 2013 draft, and since 2020, he's only allowed 1 sack. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler and a 5-time All-Pro offensive tackle. In 2020, he was selected first-team All-Pro, but since then, he has struggled to stay healthy. The last time Bakhtiari played a full NFL season was back in 2019 when the regular season was still only 16 games. Since 2020, Bakhtiari has only played 25 out of a possible 67 games. only playing in one game in 2021 and in 2023. After tearing his ACL in December of 2020, he's struggled to recover, but when he has been on the field, he's been money at the tackle position, only allowing 1 sack on 1,437 snaps. Why do I believe this injury-prone tackle would be a good fit for the 49er? Here's why. He spent 5 years under Green Bay Packer head coach, who is a part of the Shanahan coaching tree and runs a similar style offense as Kyle Shanahan. At this point in his career, similar to Humphries, his leadership and experience would benefit the 49ers offensive line room tremendously, as the players the Niners are hoping to rely on in the future are still young and need development. He'd be a great backup for Trent Williams, and if he's able and willing to play right tackle, having 2 all-pro offensive linemen who rarely give up sacks would boost the Niners offensive line tremendously. Not to mention he's a Bay Area native who was born in San Mateo and went to Sarah High School. Niners might be able to get him on a lower number than expected, since he's an injury-prone player who might just want to chase a ring with the hometown team. Signing one of these offensive linemen would help bolster the 49ers offensive line tremendously, considering they are currently ranked 24th in the league by PFF. Last year, one of the biggest issues for the 49ers was pass protection, and this year for Brock Purdy to take the next step in his development, the O-line needs to be better. I also think the Niners should look at kickers this preseason. Yes, I understand Moody set franchise records for a rookie, but when games were on the line this past year and we needed Moody to come through for us, the pressure was too much. The Chiefs have Harrison Buckner, and the Patriots had Vinatieri and Gostowski when they were winning Super Bowls. Hopefully, Moody can live up to those expectations set by the franchise, but as of right now, it looks like the pressure is too much for him.
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast, where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Time for Empowering with Positivity. For today's topic, I want to celebrate the success of this year's WNBA season. The arrival of Caitlin Clark has been huge for the WNBA as the league continues to grow and break their own records in attendance, viewership, and all-star votes. Angel Reese, who is known as Caitlin Clark's main rival due to their history, has also helped elevate the W. She's having a tremendous rookie season, breaking the legendary Candace Parker's double-double record in her first year in the league. Plus, both women have been nominated to the WNBA All-Star Game and will be teaming up for the first time to take on the U.S. women's national team that will be competing in the Olympics. Hopefully, these women can put their rivalry aside for one night and pull off the upset and beat the women's national team. That's where my money is, ladies and gentlemen. I think both of these girls are special, and I can't wait. These girls right here, I think are the Larry Bird and Magic Johnson equivalent for the WNBA. And if you don't believe me, just wait and see. I'm not saying they're going to win a championship this year. But watch what this rivalry is. I can see both of them winning championships, and I'm just excited. I'm really excited to see how this plays out. Guys, please subscribe, like, and comment on the video. Share this with your friends, families, and partners. Make some money with my picks. Listen to my sports stick, or just watch for some positivity. Always remember, desire is power, and if you desire to be great, you have the power to be great. Thank you for watching another episode of Unwin from the End Zone. I love and appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for more.